Because we are live, Steve.
Welcome.
We're live, and I'm going to remember NosillaCast. Start broadcast. There we go. Sorry, I cut you off, Steve.
Welcome to NosillaCastaways.
Okay, so I went live a couple minutes early because I wanted to ask Sandy what she's doing here. Okay, I have to stop that. So when I look at the video is in the left column, Sandy, and the right column is the live chat, is the Lime chat. The Lime chat is actually higher like this than the video. So how are you getting the video so it slides up under the banner and yet still see Lime chat? I'm going to log into that as boogers into Lime chat in case that changes it. I'm using Chrome for this, but yeah, so if I scroll Lime chat all the way to the top, the video of me is down much lower. So I don't see how it gets obscured. I can make it wider, though. Steve doesn't seem to think it's a good idea to edit the live website while we're watching, but I'm going to do it anyway. What could possibly go wrong? So this might make the video bigger if you refresh the screen in just 1 second. Should be about 30% bigger. This might be too much bigger, but let's see what it does. Reload. Yeah, that looks bigger. Reload your page, Steve. Please. I think you're muted, Steve. There you are.
Yeah, it looks a little bigger, but is that the problem that we're trying to solve?
Yeah, she said she wanted the video bigger. And now we've got the width, because we had the sidebars before and there's no more sidebars.
Okay.
Now that if we did that, Live chat has its own scroll bar, so vid stays where it is. Live chat is a separate app, so I just put it in front of the website with the video. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Kiwi IRC, the embedded thing. Video is constrained to whatever room exists on my MacBook Pro to the left of Line chat. Okay. Well, Sandy, refresh your screen and see whether it looks any better because it's by default bigger now. I don't understand how it ends up underneath the banner though, because there's a whole bunch of junk above the video. There's like the description, the introduction. There's the place the clock would go if Bart will ever teach me how to embed the new clock.
So if she wants to separate the chat from the video.
She's got a separate client. She's using a chat client.
Then I can give her a link just to the video. In fact, I just put it in, but let me put it in again. I put it in the header, the title of the chat room, but I'll put it in the body of the text.
I've had my new MacBook Pro for 3 weeks. I'm already starting to see the smooth spot wearing on the right side of my space bar. Yeah, isn't that sad, Brett? When like you first get the keys and then later on they start to look like you greased them or something. Okay, good. Kevin can hear me on IceCast. I remembered all by myself. Kind of proud of myself. Well, it is 5:02. It's probably time for roll call. And we've got Steve and Brett and Kevin and Ian. Ian, you're going to get a shout out on the show this week. Jen Troy may or may not be here. Dorothy, Rose, John, Richard, Sandy, and who snuck in? Oh, Kevin was there and then he disappeared and came back.
John just snuck in.
Oh, it was while I was reading he snuck in. Okay.
Right.
Do you guys
Jen
like
Troy is here?
Jen Troy is actually here. I never know. It's always exciting. Do you guys like the video a little bit bigger? That would require hand coding by Steve every single week. So please say yes. So he has extra work to do.
No.
I see there's a way to personalize my machine. It's a standard pattern keyboard where unique to each user. You think? Well, probably left-handed people, but my right-hand side, I'm looking for the shiny spot. My space bar is shiny on the right. No bigger, please. Oh, I'm big enough.
Oh, Ian says Daniel is here as well.
Oh, yay. Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you.
Daniel, welcome back. And Ian.
All right. All right. Let me do. So I didn't tell you guys, I'm going to do this as part of a blog post later, but I had to completely re-record the podcast last week after you guys were gone. The version that came out on the feed is not the version you heard recorded. I'm using an app called Hindenburg, which Steve thinks I'm nuts for testing live during a live video show, the real thing, but no guts, no glory. So do you see this little button? I'm going to push in the upper left. It says S. If you push that button, that means solo, and it mutes all the other tracks. Somehow I had bumped that on one of the music tracks. And so when I went to export the audio or to listen to it, I could see the waveform, but I couldn't hear anything. And luckily, I wrote to the vendor that made it, and the guy got back to me right away. He goes, "Oh yeah, you press that S button," and I learned a bunch of stuff from him. So that was pretty cool. But I was unable to export the podcast, so I had to record the whole thing over again. Knowing what I know now, I would know how to fix it. So anyway, hope she doesn't go down in flames. You're muted, Steve.
So Kevin points out Hindenburg sounds a bit ominous. Do you really want to use this app?
Yeah, it's kind of funny that they named it that. But all right, I need to get together out here. GarageBand jingles are. Actually, did I put a link to those? I did. I put those here. I don't need to open that every time. That's good. Oh, no, I do need that because I can't remember which one's which. Back up. GarageBand jingles, because I named them. Yeah, they are. All right, so we need intro. All right, let me drop this into place. And I'm going to bring that way down. Not so good at the ducking thing yet, but we're going to try this. I'm going to try to do the intro. Okay, so this is Allison. And this is intro. We're going to need some security bits, music, and we're going to need outro. We're going to need another track. We're going to need a, how do you do new track? I don't know how to do new track. Add track. There we go. And that'll be security bits. And we'll put, oh, that's something I don't know how to do, though. I don't know how to change the order of the tracks. Huh. Well.
How about a drop and drag?
Drop and drag? Drag and drop? No,
drop and drag. Yeah.
I haven't been able to figure out how to drag and drop. Whoa. What's going on? Okay. Let's hear this. Okay, why am I not hearing that track? Oh, because I pressed that S button. Boy, that's easy to press.
Stop pressing the S button.
I definitely should. All right, I'm going to arm that track. Let's go ahead and I'm going to do a little test here. Fail to start. No tracks are record enabled. Yes, it is. I think that's a bug. There we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, April 16, 2017. This is show number 623.
Did anyone notice anything different there?
Steve, don't. Let's see. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. So they did notice. I love it. So yeah, I changed it. I changed it with the new logo. Nobody noticed it was different on the website, huh?
I did.
Yeah, you knew.
Well, you're moving forward with the times, I guess.
Yeah, it's just time. It was time. It hasn't changed pretty much ever.
Next, we'll be hearing with an ever so slight iPhone bias.
Yeah. It's Sunday, April 16, 2017. This is show number 623. There we go.
Or maybe an iOS bias.
Maybe. Good job, Daniel. All right. I'm gonna re-record that. That was just a test, but you could hear the playback. Oh, loving the new website. Yay! That was hard. All right, we're going to save this file. So this is going to go in here because I hope it doesn't crash and burn again. All right, here we go. We're doing it for real now. Ready? Here we go. If you say Android, I'm leaving, Troy says. Well, here's my Nexus 5X from LG, my Google Nexus phone. Anyway, all right, here we go. Wait. Do not disturb. Phone is off. Lights are on. Dog collar's off, Steve? Not you.
Yeah, I took mine off. Oh, Tesla. Yeah, she's fine too.
Okay. Covering my eyes, Sandy says. Nice. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, April 16, 2017, and this is show number 623. Well, I'm really excited to announce that the new and improved podfeed.com is finally live. I know it's been a long time coming, and probably the biggest delay with me getting the nerve up to actually pull the trigger. I thought it might be interesting to you to understand the process I went through to execute this delicate maneuver. First of all, I had 3 versions of the website. I had a production version at podfeed.com, of course. Then there was the beta version that was at podfeed.com/beta2. We'll call that one beta 2. That's the one you got to pre-release C. And then finally, I had a local version on my Mac. We're going to call that one localhost because that's actually what it's called. Anyway, I originally built the new version of the site on localhost, creating it by massive trial and error and using old data from last year. It was just all kinds of hodgepodge the way I put it together. Then I pushed the localhost version up to beta 2, and I had to do a bunch more edits on that, some major, some minor, and then I did some minor tweaks here and there to the CSS with help from the most awesome listener, Helma. Well, when no one said they hated it, and many people said they loved it, and I really liked it, what would you do next if you were me? Procrastinate for 2 months, of course. Anyway, when I finally sat down and decided to just get her done, I asked for Bart's help, kind of storyboarding how to go about doing the final installation with the least amount of disruption of podfeed.com. I know I've explained how WordPress and other content management systems work about 100 times, but briefly, so we're on the same page, I'm going to do it again. The stuff you write on a website or blog all goes into a database. So if I write a new blog post, the title I write goes into a table into a field called title. Then the text of the post goes into that same table, but it would be in something, say, called the content field. So the database holds everything you write. Then the other parts of WordPress, especially the theme, create how that content is actually presented to the observer. So is there a left or a right sidebar? How many things are in the menu? What color are links? What font are you seeing? All of these things are what make a content management system work, so you can change the look and feel without changing the content itself. Okay, that's a brief lesson over. Here's the process I followed. First, I created a whole new database on localhost. This was with Bart's advice. Then I downloaded the current database from podfeed.com. So I had the most recent data that we had created. Then Bart helped me do this to do that database transfer with a tool called SQL Pro, which was way easier than the way I'd done it before using PHPMyAdmin. Next, I had to populate the localhost database with the most recent data. So I took it back up and brought it all in. Then I installed the then current theme from podfeed.com on localhost so that localhost now looked exactly like the live production site at podfeed.com. Then I had to create a step-by-step methodical procedure to update localhost to look like beta 2. The hard part was to find the path to change everything I could without flipping to the new theme. Again, I wanted to make sure that I had the way to get as much done as possible without making it look stupid for hours or days at a time. So that's where the least amount of disruption in the live site was important, that I wanted to be able to do when I followed my own procedure. So I tried to figure out the way to, the order of all the puzzle pieces to do locally. Well, those steps, creating these steps, took me a full 3 days to complete. I documented every step using Clarify, of course, from clarify-it.com, who is not a sponsor, but I'm still in love with that tool. Anyway, it took that long because not because documenting it was hard, but it was because I still had this trial and error on how to make sure I didn't make changes that would be visible until it was unavoidable. There was the last couple of minutes that would be necessary, but it turned out there was a lot I could do where it wouldn't be visible. So that was really good. I also found out during that 3 days, a lot of stuff I couldn't remember how I did it up beta 2. I know that sounds dumb, but that's what happens when you figure out things over a long period of time using trial and error. Now, just for your amusement, I included a PDF of my migration document in the show notes. This is not a pretty document, and no one else on earth could possibly learn how to migrate a website using it, but it's the notes I took that helped me figure out how to do it. I thought you might like to see it just to see how hard it was. It's not going to be on the final exam, so it's not required reading, but it might amuse you, as I said. It's filled with weird little notes to myself with tons of question marks to grab my attention when I'm reading, so you can just laugh at me and then move along. So when I finally had all the steps ready and documented, remember it took 3 days to write this up and to figure out how to do it. When I followed my own procedure on the live website, it only took a couple of hours to execute. I was so happy I'd spent the time writing my procedure ahead of time. Once I went live, I shot out a message to Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, asking for our early warning system to kick in to see if there was anything wrong. There were a few tweaks here and there, but the most interesting problem was something that Steve and Ian found out independently. On the homepage with Safari, everything looked grand. I know it's really dumb that as a web developer, I didn't try it on different browsers, but I didn't. I only tried it on Safari. But Steve happened to check it with Chrome, and some of the stuff looked really wonky. By wonky, I mean like 2 giant big black bars in the middle of the page. The only thing I could think of was maybe an ad blocker on Chrome that was acting weird, and that's when he noticed the insecure site symbol was showing up on Chrome on my homepage. Well, podfeet.com is HTTPS, and everything, no matter what you type, it's going to change it to HTTPS. But I checked, and I had some hard links that I had to put in as hard link on the buttons, and those were not typed as HTTPS. When I changed those, suddenly Chrome was happy and it looked beautiful. But later that first day, Ian sent me a note, including a screenshot of the exact same wonkiness. 2 black bars, and then after that was a big black circle with an X in the middle. And that happened when he went to the Podfeet Press sign-up page. I haven't mentioned the Podfeet Press in a long time. This is a newsletter that goes out automatically whenever a new show goes up, and it includes a little bit of the show notes, the excerpt at the top, so you know what the next show is about. But I also use the Podfeet Press to let people know if something is wrong, like the time I lost my voice, or the time my website was down for like 3 days because my web host was being stupid. That is one of the ways I let people know when these things are wrong. Anyway, the newsletter is managed by a service called MailChimp, and I had grabbed the embed code for the sign-up form from MailChimp like 100 years ago. So when Ian showed me this problem, I went and grabbed a new version, plopped it into the page, and boom, all of the wonkiness went away. Ian tested it for me, and he gave us a thumbs up. I would like to know why those particular failures on screen were chosen. I would have thought maybe an alert saying something on the page was insecure. That would have been good. That would have been a way to tell somebody. But anyway, I was pretty happy I was able to fix it by myself and figured it out. I do want to give another shout out, this time to Nick Lai. Ages ago, he suggested I use the featured image thing in WordPress. The reason he suggested that was because sometimes when I post a link to the website, say on Facebook, Google+, or LinkedIn, instead of a nice image, you would see this giant Patreon logo, and it was huge, and it was just like, pay me. I mean, it just was not the message I wanted to send. So a lot of times I just delete it, and it's just a big mess. Anyway, I told him my theme didn't support featured images, which is what he suggested. But now my fancy new theme does support featured images. So when you see the blog post now, you'll see a pretty little image to help you know where you are. For example, if you click on Programming by Stealth on the homepage, on every post you see will have Bart's cool PBS logo in it. If I remember to add it to the featured images, that is. Anyway, if you tap on a blog post, you'll see little featured images from the post. I like this a lot, and I did not know what it was for. The best part, of course, is when I post to Facebook or Google+ or LinkedIn, you're going to get the image I wanted you to get. So I'm finally in control of what that's going to look like, and you shouldn't see that giant Patreon logo again. I also want to give a shout out to Steve, because he went back through the last dozen or so of each kind of post to make sure there's an appropriate logo or featured image showing. I hate doing that kind of work. And somehow he has the patience to do it. And he actually volunteered to do it. All right, that's probably enough inside baseball about the website, but I think you'll find the site much cleaner to read. It'll be easier to find things like the tutorials and the separate kinds of episodes. And guess what else? The search actually works now.
The search actually works?
I know, right?
Wait, I thought you're talking about the little search bar to find topics in your blog?
Yeah. Yeah.
That worked before, I thought.
Well, it pretended to work. It never found what you were looking for.
Really?
And you got this column down the right-hand side that was full of crap. Sorry, excuse my French.
Yeah,
crud.
Really.
It was like the first three things were ads, and it was a really big font. So I never used it. I never used it at all.
Let me try it.
I've used it a couple times.
Is it a Google-based search or something else?
I don't know. Came with the theme. Seems to work. The Google one was the other one.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Wait, why am I going to be mad?
Oh, never mind. Forget you saw anything.
I don't. Hode, sweet Hode.
We heard Hode instead of home.
Oh, I did say Hode. Yeah,
okay,
you're right.
Good.
I heard it too.
We're just riffing on Hode.
Thank you. Hodley, hodley, hodley.
John's was good. Sweet Hode, Alabama.
Nice.
Now he's singing it, and we're trying
I said Hode page. You didn't come here to listen to Allison, did you? All right, that's probably enough inside baseball about the website, but I think you'll find the site. Okay, good. I think the levels sound good. I want to know how to do that, but that'll work. Bring you back over there. All right.
So are you asking people to submit any issues they may be finding?
Nope.
On the new
Nope. It's perfect. I don't want to hear about it.
Yep. Kill the developer. That's what they say when you're done with the project.
Steve stole that from Dorothy's husband, Mark. Mark says that he thinks every piece of software, as soon as it's shipped, you should shoot the developer. So there's never an update. Hey, John says, who? Now, you're supposed to be my wing woman. That wasn't French, Allison, Sandy says. Oh, sorry. Here we go. All right, mute dear.
Muting now.
He likes doing that. In Chit Chat Across the Pond this week, we're back with Programming by Stealth. Bart finally let us start learning test-driven development, or TDD. He shows us how to use a free and open source tool called QUnit, made by the fine developers of jQuery. We're going to use that to analyze our test code. This is something I've been itching to learn more about ever since listener Jill tipped us off to it as a concept. He's been teasing it for weeks and weeks and weeks, so we finally got to do it. This is a really fun episode where everything kind of comes together, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Well, this week I was also on the SMR podcast and had a complete and total blast, like I usually do. This time it was me with Rob Dunwood and Chris Ashley, and we talked a lot about the United Airlines fiasco because they talk about whatever they want. They don't have to do tech. They're just whatever they feel like. Talked a little bit about Apple and a lot about the tech stuff we did on our trip to South America. Now, that last bit sounds like a bit of a rerun for you guys, but trust me, all stories are better told with Rob and Chris there. Check it out at smrpodcast.com, episode number 337. It's entitled The Roller Coaster with Allison Sheridan.
That was a fun one.
Show. What, Tesla? Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, and I'm not quite done, but it's, enjoying it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Oh, Sandy says, I used to teach French, and that wasn't French. Okay, Apple's new strategy will meet you halfway. Got so lucky this week. I actually... That's weird. There it is. Okay. I wrote a whole blog post before I left on vacation, and I forgot I had done it. I was so happy. That's a really good day when you realize you don't have to write near as much as you thought you did.
Who noticed that?
You did.
There you go.
Wait a minute. What the heck?
Wait, Kevin's asking about no discussion of boobies. Wasn't that all last week?
Yes.
I think we're through with the boobies. Both blue and red-footed.
What episode is this? 623?
623, yes.
That's Let's see. I think that's it for that. I just want to make sure I'm supposed to go right in the blog post. Yeah. Okay.
Can you turn the light to your left down just a touch?
Ha.
Not that. There.
That's
down.
a joke. Really?
There. Good.
All right. Kevin, watch your French. I like the red-footed boobies.
They are very rare.
All right. Let me check one thing here before we get too far along. I want to make sure these switchovers sound like the right length. Actually works now. In Chit Chat Across the Pond, that's interesting. There we go. That'll all fixed by level or ophonic leveler. Yeah. Okay, we're good. It's all good. I don't know the keystrokes for this app yet. Like, I want to be able to jump right to the end of something. Are you playing with your mic, sweetheart?
No.
Don't do any changes live.
I'm going to mute.
All right. Here we go. I said nothing wrong, smiles innocently. Last year, before the new iPhone 7 came out, all 4 of the iPhones in use by my family were suffering from the battery shutdown problem that so many people have been plagued with. Kyle was getting a new iPhone 7 from me for his birthday, but I asked him, before I do that, take your iPhone 6 into Apple while it was still under AppleCare. I wanted him to try to get it replaced. Apple told Kyle there was nothing wrong with the battery and refused to replace it. They said to use a DFU restore, also known as device firmware update, and to not restore from a backup, and that would fix it. I just messed that all up. We're going to start that over again. Because it's not a restore. Last year, before the new iPhone 7 come out, try that one more time. We're going to have one of those days. Last year, before the new iPhone 7 came out, all 4 of the iPhones in use by my family were suffering from the battery shutdown problem that so many people have had. Kyle was getting a new iPhone 7 for me for his birthday, but I asked him to first take his iPhone 6 into Apple while it was still under AppleCare to try to get it replaced. Apple told Kyle there was nothing wrong with the battery and refused to replace it. They said to use a DFU, device firmware update, and to do a DFU, I should say, and to not restore from a backup, and that would fix it. They were certain that there was something in Kyle's apps or data causing the problem. Now, we know from recent reports that Apple is now admitting that something was indeed wrong with iOS that was causing a lot of the problems, and they've been able to measure a decrease in the problem from a recent iOS update. But before that information came out, and after Kyle got the iPhone 7, I loaned Kyle's iPhone 6 to my friend Ryan. Ryan's pretty geeky. He did a DFU restore, especially since he didn't care about the data on it, and he put his own data and apps on it, and the phone continued to shut down when it got to around 20 to 30% battery left. When Ryan gave the iPhone back, I took it into Apple and I told them the story, and I suggested they replace the battery in the phone. They listened to me and tried to tell me it was out of warranty, which it was on that day. I patiently explained to them that we brought the phone in under warranty and they should be able to look that up. They found that information, and then the tech said something really weird. He said, "Okay then, how about we meet you halfway? We'll split the cost of a new battery with you." Well, if you ever hear words like that, you know the negotiation has begun. I suggested that since their hardware failed under a warranty I had paid for, I was completely uninterested in meeting them halfway. I expected them to respect the warranty. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all of my techniques, but in the end, I got the iPhone's battery replaced for free. Now, I told you that story to set the stage for a new story. Remember those words he said, "We'll meet you halfway." Steve bought me the AirPods the day they came out, and I've been loving them. AirPods live in a small case that's also a battery which charges the AirPods. The case itself charges via a lightning connector on the bottom. Each AirPod has its own battery, and when you open the case, your iPhone shows you the charge of the case and the charge of each AirPod. When I go on my long walks, I pull the AirPods out of the case, and since my purse is sitting right next to the charger, I plug the case in while I'm walking. My case is rarely under 60% charged, and the headphones are always at 100%. But a couple of times recently, when I was out on my walk, I would hear one of the AirPods signal it was low on battery and then completely die. It happened twice on the left side and then once on the right side. 3 times as a pattern, so it was time to return the AirPods for a replacement pair. Now, I was running short on time right before our vacation, so I thought calling AppleCare first to get clearance would speed things up. I rang them up and in just a few moments got the clearance for a replacement. The tech told me he'd email me the case info and told me I only needed to bring in the case and the AirPods to get the replacement. He offered to make me the appointment, and I agreed. When I arrived at the Apple store, they did not have an appointment for me, but asked if maybe I was Steve Sheridan. I think since Steve bought me the AirPods, they put the appointment under his name, so I agreed that I was indeed Steve. A tech named Kaz took care of me, and you'll notice I did not call him my little friend Kaz. He looked in the end of the right AirPod where there's a little steel ring that makes contact with the case to charge, and he told me he saw something blue in there, which means I must have gotten them wet. I explained that I had not gotten them wet, yet he insisted he saw water damage. I explained that AppleCare had already approved the exchange, and he said that the guy I talked to did not document that, so he would have to call AppleCare himself. He went off for quite some time, so I asked for a manager because I was getting late on time, and I got my quasi-little friend Ben. I kind of like Ben. Anyway, Ben and Kaz told me that it was out of their hands, that since there was obviously water damage in the right AirPod, they could not replace it. I explained again, getting a little less and less patient as time went by, that I did not get these wet. I explained that on many occasions I have dropped other iDevices in water and that I have confessed every single time. I said, look it up. You can see distinct places in my records where I said I dropped this in water. They continued to insist that I had gotten my AirPods wet. I even less patiently asked them why the left AirPod had failed twice if the right AirPod was the one supposedly damaged. I asked how they knew it wasn't the case itself that was failing. Guess what they said? You can hear it, can't you? We'll meet you halfway. Yep, the exact same words I'd heard about the iPhone 6. They offered to give me a new case and a new left AirPod, but that I would have to pay for the right AirPod at a cost of $69. Well, now this was not a matter of the $69. It was a matter of Apple selling me a product, it failing well within the 1-year warranty, and then refusing to replace it when it failed. I was getting pretty angry by now, and I was exacerbated by the fact that we had our friends Diane and Bill coming over for dinner, and I was going to be late getting home to greet them. I stormed out. But this is where things get interesting. Diane and I started talking about the problem, and she and I took a close-up photo of the AirPod that supposedly had water damage. We did indeed see tiny blue crystals growing out of the minuscule grill on the end of the headphone. That's when Diane made a brilliant observation. She said, well, since we know it's not water damage, couldn't that same blue corrosion be the battery inside it itself leaking? Well, excited the next morning, I called my little friend Ben. I knew the one way to bring him on board with my program. When he answered, I said, Ben, I know how we can both be right. Have you ever opened a piece of electronics to discover that the battery had leaked? He was actually excited, acknowledging that this could definitely be what had happened. We were both happy that neither of us were idiots or liars in this solution. He suggested I call AppleCare, explain the problem, and make them document that I was allowed to get a replacement. He said he'd be standing by for me to come in and swap them out. Well, Steve suggested I get a good photo to show to AppleCare. I used my big girl Olympus OMD EM10 with my wicked cool macro lens, while Steve shined a light into the tip. Indeed, we could now clearly see those blue crystals. They were growing out of a very small crosshatched grill. Here's something even more interesting. The left AirPod also had blue crystals, but the area of corrosion was much smaller, so it was easily missed by Kaz's young eyes. I took a look at the iFixit teardown of the AirPods, and they explained that the little grill was over the microphone and showed that the battery was indeed right behind that. I put a link to iFixit in their image in the show notes if you want to take a look. So I called up AppleCare yet again, and this time asked the first tech if I could have a senior advisor, as I'd be needing to mail some images to them. See, the first tier folks can't communicate as freely as the senior folks can. Pretty quickly, I was able to convince the senior tech of my need for a replacement. He felt that my explanation was perfectly reasonable, and this was before he saw my images. When he did see them, he started telling me about how his mom got a really cool camera and a macro lens when she retired and loved to take pictures like this. But better than enjoying my photos, he documented that I could indeed get a replacement. He told me to simply give the Apple store my case number and I would be golden. The good news is that when I got to the store, I found Ben, gave him the case number, and Carlos fixed me right up with the new AirPods. The funny thing is they're not able to replace the whole set. Instead, they had to do an exchange of the left, an exchange of the right, an exchange of the case. Luckily, Carlos was really good at typing in landscape on an iPad as he repeated every procedure 3 times. The bad news is that the replacement batteries in all 3 devices were nearly dead. The good news is that I had just enough time to use my energy pocket cell battery that I carry in my purse to recharge them enough to confirm that I could pair these new AirPods with my iPhone. Now, the main point of my story is that I think Apple, in the form of Angela Rentz, has instituted a new way of saving money. They still want you to feel good about your experience, but rather than giving away products, they'll meet you halfway. I'm really curious if any of you have ever heard this from Apple yet, or whether it's just an amazing coincidence that I've heard it twice in the last few months. If you do hear it, know that it just means negotiations are open. All right, I've been talking a long time. What have I missed? Oh man, you guys have been chatty.
Mostly talk about new iPhones converting from older to newer ones.
Who's going to do what?
Yeah. Getting used to the new sizes, the new features.
Kevin, tell Steve he needs a plus size phone. I think it's awesome.
I'm having trouble enough with this 6S getting it in and out of my pocket. Plus would just put me over the edge.
Get a purse.
A purse?
No, a purse. My brother has a purse and he's just at peace with it. So, all right. Let's see what I got next. Next up is, this is fun. This is a good one. Let's see. I'm going to send them the link to see what we're talking about here.
Oh, I've been doing that.
You haven't done that?
Nope. I was about to, but good.
Yes, not a 7 Plus when the 8 comes out. Right, Kevin? Right, Steve? All right.
Yeah, I don't know. The 8's going to be huge, I guess.
Well, but it might be a bigger screen in the same form factor.
It could be,
probably.
Right. With the infinity display or whatever they're called.
Yeah. But actually, we should, like that great picture of Tesla I took with the 2 cameras. Don't you want the portrait mode, Steve?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that.
If they put it in the smaller weenie one, then I guess
I'm sure that'll come in the 7S or whatever they call that one.
Maybe. How big is your pocket? Wait, I carry my 6 Plus and 7 Plus both in my shirt pocket along with my iPod Nano.
Kevin's shirt pockets are larger than mine.
They might be. Steve, are you little in California? All right, I'm going to keep going. We live in a pretty safe neighborhood, but we like to keep an eye on things around our house. As safe as the neighborhood is, we do know of cases where deliveries have been stolen from front doorsteps from time to time. You've probably heard about the Ring Video doorbell that we reviewed last January. It's great to watch our front door with a live view or to answer the doorbell from wherever we are. When Steve's new GoPro Hero 5 was delivered while we were out of town, I was able to tell the delivery person to just leave it right there, and then I pinged my neighbor on chat to go snag it from the front door so I wouldn't have to buy a third one if it got stolen. Well, Steve has also always wanted, a video camera in the backyard. He wants to secure the home as best he can, and being alerted if someone is lurking in the back there in the middle of the night would be useful information to have. I'm not as concerned about intruders as he is, but I do have an additional concern. We live in a very urban area of Los Angeles, but we have a coyote problem. Every few days, I hear about a coyote sighting, even our own street a few blocks away. It's happened more than once. There's a sign at our local park that says, call 911 if you see an aggressive coyote. But the next sign says, if you see just a regular coyote, he's not aggressive, call the parks department. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not doing, I don't know, just that just seems ridiculous that there's coyotes running around in this urban area of the city. Anyway, we've also heard reports of coyotes eating small dogs who were let out in the nighttime. So Tesla is too big to be eaten by a coyote. I mean, she outweighs like by 50% more than the biggest male coyotes, and she could probably beat one in a fight, but I don't really want to give her the opportunity to prove that. You know, David Roth would never forgive me if she got hurt. We have a big floodlight in the backyard with a motion detector, and we always flail a hand around in front of the sensor at night before we let Tess out to make sure she's safe, but a camera with motion sensors would give me more peace of mind. At CES in January, we interviewed the CEO of Ring, the makers of our doorbell, a guy named Jamie Simonoff. We interviewed him about their soon-to-be-released Ring floodlight cam. I had planned to get this for Steve for his birthday in April, which is next week, but without telling me, he pre-ordered one on his own so he could be the first kid on the block to get it. Well, he's had a bad couple of weeks, so we will allow it. Before I go into the entire setup process and talk about what we think of it, I should probably let you know what's cool about the Ring floodlight cam. It's got 2 super bright LED floodlights. It's got motion detection. It's got an infrared and daytime HD video camera, 2-way audio, and it's even got a 110 decibel siren alarm. And of course, it's all connected to the internet so that you can watch your own yard while you're away, or whether you're at home or away. Okay, Steve, come on. Do you even read these when you do typos?
You added that after I edited it. The 2-way audio. I just saw it. I'm fixing it.
Okay.
That was after I edited it.
No, but you're the one who told me to add it.
Yeah, but not with 2W0.
Actually, don't you do it, okay? Don't do it.
Don't do it? All right.
Yeah, it's TWO.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I just stopped. I found other typos, by the way, but because I need to be able to push this up in case I find anything else out. That's funny that you were correcting it. 2-way audio. There we go. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. Save. The Ring. Actually, that's not what I wanted to do. All right.
I don't see a difference.
You won't. It's local. I'm going to push it up when I'm done. Okay. The Ring floodlight cam is not cheap at $249, and it is not HomeKit enabled. This means that we had to put it on our stinky, less secure network with our other non-HomeKit compatible devices and our stinky Windows machine. So physical installation was pretty easy according to Steve. He took down the flood lamp we already had, which was connected to 3 wires, a ground, a hot wire, and a neutral or return wire. I normally am not the one to do the wiring, but I'll explain in a bit how I might have been able to do this one on my own. To start, you download the Ring app from the App Store. It runs on iOS, Android, Mac, or Windows. And then you tap on Add a Device. Flip through the different devices Ring offers until you find the floodlight cam. You choose a name for your floodlight cam and then confirm a location or enter an address by hand. I'll explain later why it wants to know your location. This is not a mandatory step. The very next step in the app is not how to get it on your network. It's a video on how to install the mounting bracket for the flood cam. You can hit continue and then you get a wiring video. Continue again and you get the video on how to attach the camera to the mounting bracket. I'm thinking even a mechanical engineer could follow those video instructions. Finally, once all that messy hardware stuff is done, it's time to go through the network setup. Now, I've walked through the steps to install an IoT device on your network when we did the Nest smoke detector, the Wemo switches, and other things that we've done, and the process is all pretty much the same. First, you fire up the device, and the device will create its own local Wi-Fi network. You connect your mobile device to the device's Wi-Fi. The device then slurps in the available 2.4 gigahertz networks, only 2.4, it's always 2.4. Then the device asks you to select which of those networks it should connect to. You choose the network for it to join, and then you type in your password. Then you flip your phone back to your real network. Except it never works this way. Something always seems to go wrong. When Steve did the initial setup, he ran into a little bit of a snag. He got stuck because when he connected to the Ring floodlight cam's Wi-Fi network, his VPN software kicked in on his phone. Of course, he didn't notice it at first, but eventually he figured it out. He could have told his VPN software to trust the network, but he simply told it not to secure the network, and then the process worked as I described. If you can't connect to the Ring floodlight cam's network, there's a screen you go past that says, "Is the light on the camera blinking?" If it isn't and you press no, a very helpful GIF is displayed showing someone pushing the flush button on the top of the camera. I know that sounds kind of hokey, but it was a great way to show us where the button was and how long to touch it. They really do speed. I was going to stop anyway. You put that word flush in there.
And sorry, but the
really clumsy.
The reason I did is the flush is what makes it when you can't see it. First of all, it's mounted above your head.
Why? But
so you don't know where the button is until you see the video.
Yeah, so but it's important. It's not a flush button. I knew I didn't write that.
Okay, the button that is flush to the surface.
Yeah, but a flush button. It's like, Kevin's gonna love that. That's why I just stopped, because I was like,
I put that in for humor. Okay.
Hang on, let me see where I said that. I know that sounds kind of hokey. If you can't connect, as soon as I read that, I'm like, what on earth did you do, Steve? What happens if I start recording? I'm going to do just a little test right here. I want to see what happens if I don't adjust this thing. Blah, 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 blah. Flush for us is a motto at work. See? Next door is just a gossip site, worthless. I thought it was pretty good, but it's too chatty. It's really chatty. And every couple of days, there's a lost dog, found cat, lost cat. Keep track of your stuff. Okay, good. I don't have to worry about that. You've frozen. Uh-oh. I have no audio.
I hear you.
I can't hear you, Steve.
You can't hear me at all now?
What just happened? I can't hear me either. Am I frozen still, Steve?
No, you're not frozen. I'm just saying that the video is not flipping back and forth between.
Say again, Steve?
I'm just saying the video is not flipping back and forth between us.
I can't actually hear you. I'm having to hear you through the door.
Do you want me to come over?
Okay. There's no need to talk at all if you can't yell, because I can't hear you. What happened? I can tell there's audio there.
There's audio.
Oh, I know what it is. It's that stupid touch bar.
Okay. All I'm saying is that the video is not stopping based on.
Oh.
That's what I meant by phone.
Oh, okay. All right. We're getting going. Yeah, it's really easy to hit the top right button on the touch bar. So I got rid of Siri because I tapped it all the time, but now I just mute myself and can't figure out why. Okay. Now I'm not going to say flush button. Okay, here we go. If you can't connect to the Ring Floodlight Cam's network, there's a screen you go past that asks if the light on the camera is blinking. If it isn't, and you press no, a very helpful GIF is displayed, and it shows someone pushing the button that's on top of the camera. The reason that's important is because that button is actually flush to the top, and it's really hard to find. I know it sounds hokey that they did this little GIF, but it was a great way to show us where that button was and how long to hold it. They really do spoon feed you through the process. Well, as usual, I've managed to spend a lot of time in this review without telling you how this thing works and what we think of it. Let's finally get into that. Like the Ring Video Doorbell, the Ring Floodlight Cam uses motion detection to send you alerts. This camera has much more advanced controls than the doorbell for defining the area to watch. You can actually view your yard through the camera and draw out irregularly shaped motion zones for monitoring. You get 8 little dots for each zone, and you drag them around to define that zone. You can name the zone, and you can independently toggle each zone for active or inactive. This is great if you've got like a tree blowing in the breeze in one area, or let's say somebody's always coming in and out of a driveway on the right and you don't want to get notified every time that car comes in. You can create these zones to watch. You can change the motion sensitivity from all activity down to people only, and then 3 steps in between. We started at the highest sensitivity, which meant it was going off constantly. So we dragged the slider down to the opposite end to people only. Then I read online that the sensors have face detection. That made me wonder if it would indeed catch a coyote were it to wander into our yard. I tested this theory by letting Tesla out by herself, And sure enough, with the camera set to people only, she did not trigger the motion detection, even though she was running all over the zone I had defined. I dragged the slider up one notch and she triggered the motion detector. Now we know that level 2 should detect coyotes. I don't know if it needs her face to look like a coyote. Anyway, you can set up schedules for motion activity as well, but this feature is disabled if you choose not to share your location. Now, this makes sense. The app doesn't know what time it is unless it knows where you are, right? I suppose they could have made it harder and made you define your time zone, but I think adjusting for that automatically is a far easier way to go. Kind of the best of both worlds, that you have a choice on whether or not you want to share your location. I really like the way they implemented scheduling of motion detection. Every day around 10:15 a.m., Steve takes Tessa out in the backyard and they pet her around back there till, say, around 11 o'clock. Before I turned on motion scheduling, my iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch were all ringing away during that time, alerting me to their nefarious activities in the backyard. In motion scheduling, you disable during specific times. You could create multiple rules where you select days of the week, a start and end time, and then you give the rule a name. As with the Ring Video Doorbell, there's often a delay between when you get a motion alert and when you can actually view the live video. It's frustrating because if the motion is too quick, like with the front doorbell, if somebody just drops off a package and they don't ring the doorbell, you will never get a chance to interact with them. We have not yet caught our postal worker. When you play back the video, you do see who or what triggered the alert. This is something we'd really like to see Ring improve. When I first read the Ring website about the camera, I misunderstood the specifications. They said the field of view was 270 degrees. But clearly, in looking at the video in imagery, it doesn't see around corners, so I thought 270 was a typo on their website. Luckily, they have 24/7 tech chat support at ring.com. My new little friend Kyle explained that the heat-sensing motion detectors are at 270 degrees, and the camera's view is 140 degrees by 81 degrees. That makes a lot more sense. In any case, the 1080p video quality is superb. During video playback after an incident has been recorded, the video is very smooth. In live view, it seems to stop and speed up a little bit. It's capturing all of the motion, but it seems to buffer a bit when viewed live. By the way, I think it's a great sign that Ring has a 24/7 tech chat support. They've been great. Steve said he contacted them a few times on the doorbell, and they were great for him as well. The floodlight cam has 2 super bright LED flood lamps, that's the name, and you can control the motion zones for the lights to turn on. These zones are independent of the camera's motion detection. For the lights, you get 3 triangular sections, left, right, and center. You can also change the distance from min to max. Not sure why you'd want the motion control for the lights different than the camera, but it's cool that you can if you want to. I guess you might want to light up the area where the leaves are, moving in the breeze that you don't want motion detection, but you still want to light it up. So maybe that does make sense. On that same screen, you can also control how long the lights stay on after they've been triggered, and you can change it from 30 seconds up to 15 minutes. I should mention that screen I just described, or setting this motion detection, the motion, I'll get it yet, the control zones for the lights, that screen is actually kind of hard to find. If you go into light settings, all you're going to see is the light schedule option where you define a time span that the lights will always be on if you choose. The controls for that take up just a little bit of the top of the screen, so your eyes may not wander down to the bottom of the screen where in tiny text it says advanced settings. We missed it the first few times we went through the light setup screen. You don't have to depend on the lights to view your yard. The Ring floodlight camera is also infrared, so you can keep an eye on things in the dark. It's pretty cool looking, actually. I put a screenshot of Steve waving in near darkness, only light coming from the windows, but not the floodlight, and you can clearly read his NASA shirt we got him at the Hayden Planetarium. When you get an alert or in live view, you can listen to what's happening outside, and you can choose to talk through the built-in speakers as well. We played around with it a bit, and if I spoke at more than a whisper, Steve said it was loud enough to really disturb the neighbors. I can picture yelling, "Hey, what are you doing back there?" to an intruder and scaring the pants off of them. Speaking of disturbing the neighbors, there's a remote-activated 110 decibel siren on the Ring floodlight cam. We only very briefly tested it, and it is really loud. I think I would reach for the siren first when and if that coyote ever sets foot in my yard. I've mentioned video storage. That's going to cost you a grand total of $30 per year, and it's free for the first month, so you can see if you like to be able to play back recorded video. That's for the Ring floodlight cam. You don't get a break if you're already paying $30 per year for the doorbell, but if you go nuts with a whole bunch of Ring devices, you're never going to pay more than $100 per year total. There's a button to check device health, which is really a way to see if your Wi-Fi signal is strong enough. When we first set it up, we inadvertently put it on our Netgear X8 Wi-Fi network. That's the good network. It's much farther away from the backyard than the Airport Extreme and several more walls away. The device health screen was red and said the signal was very weak. When we reset the device and put it on our Airport Extreme, the device health screen came back green. Now, we previously had purchased 2 Ring chimes to go with our Ring video doorbell. The chimes plug into outlets, so we have one upstairs and one downstairs, and they connect to that doorbell and give us a ring inside our house, so we don't have to use a mobile device to actually know that the doorbell's ringing. We were able to make the chimes ring with the floodlight cam as well, so they're all interconnected. It would be an improvement to have the interface allow you to change the tone depending on which device had been triggered. If we get an alert, we have to look at our phones to know whether to answer the door or look in the backyard. Like the doorbell, you can add shared users to the floodlight cam, which allows other people to access your camera. This would be great if you want to monitor your parents' house, or let's say you want a friend to watch your house while you're away. We will definitely add this to the list of devices that Lindsay, Kyle, and our house sitter Brandy have access to while we're away. Voiceover accessibility of the Ring app is kind of weak. Most buttons are labeled, but they're often labeled stupidly. By the way, this is on the on iOS that I found this. For example, all of the buttons on the camera view screen say icon sm before their name. It's icon SM. Probably means icon small, but what VoiceOver says is icon sm gray light button. That actually should be labeled turn on the light or light is off. It appears that they just got lucky that there's any label at all. I have the CEO's email address, and since we interviewed him, so I dropped him a gentle hint of a note about it. It's not terrible, but it could easily be a lot better. I also tried testing the Mac app, and I'm not great at voiceover accessibility on the Mac, but I'm pretty sure it's not accessible because I was unable to move from the table on the left to the table on the right. If I started in one, it worked, but I couldn't go from one to the other. And if you can't go between those two tables, it's really not accessible. So I did tell him I'm not great at it, but I think it's a problem. Anyway, bottom line is the Ring Floodlight Cam is a great device, and it does just about everything we wanted in a security camera for the outdoors. It's not cheap at $250, but the online video storage is cheap. The camera detail is fantastic. The customization is easy and intuitive, and the setup is pretty easy as long as you remember to disable your VPN first. I wish it was HomeKit compatible, and while it is accessible on iOS, there are some improvements they could make. But overall, I can highly recommend the Ring Floodlight Cam from ring.com. That was a long one. 33 minutes.
Long but good.
All right. I am going to take a very short break, if that's okay with you guys. I will be right back. Oh, so you can look at Tesla while I'm gone.
I'll go get Tesla.
Oh, she's right here.
No, but she's out of camera a little bit.
Okay, you can work on that.
And now for our next host, it's Ada. Say hi, Ada. What do you say to the crowd? Yeah? She's not very talkative tonight, so we're going to have to put her down. Tesla, come here. Come here. There you go. Okay, people want to see you. Can you say something? All right. I like to see it. Come over here. Come over here. People want to see your logo. See the Tesla logo? That's how she got her name.
You're silly, Steve. Look at her tail go. Yep, she's a tail wagger. She's a tail wagger, that's for sure. All right, where were we? Did Steve change my camera by any chance? Steve, why is the top of my head cut off?
Whoops. Oh, I may have played with the camera a little bit.
You may have, huh? Not sure? Not sure?
Yeah.
All right, we're getting close to the end here, but it is time for security bits. which is DJ Cold World. Security Bits music goes in next. And then I got to find Chit Chat, which should probably be here. No, it's called Security Bits. There it is. Okay. Which I edited. Oh, that should not be blank. Why does that not have a waveform? Ring.com. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I can see the tracks. I can see it's not in far. All right, see? Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for security. Yeah, it's kind of loud. Oh, that's different. I just learned something new on this tool. Oh, no, it's just graphically doing it differently. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. And boy, Bart, am I glad. Oh, that's actually not supposed to be on that track anyway. It's supposed to be up there. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. And boy, Bart, am I glad I'm not having to do this one solo. That was hard.
Well, I guess the good news is we only have 1 week's worth of news. Maybe the bad news is we have quite a bit of news, even though it's only 1 week.
Yeah.
Also, just want to say on air, well done last week standing in while I was out sick. That was I was well impressed. That was good.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I got to say, I was really touched by what you said about it. And I mentioned that on the show, but I do often sit here thinking, why do you do all this work for us? But I guess people think that about me too. Why do I do it? Because we love it, right?
Community. It's community. Yeah. Besides, if I didn't talk to you about this stuff, I'd just annoy everyone at coffee in work or something.
All right. Okay.
So the Bart is a little bit quieter there. Is that?
Yeah,
Right.
It should all work out in the wash.
All right.
All right. I mean, I could split it into 2 tracks and fix it.
As long as you're not using Levelator now, you're using Alphonics.
Yeah, I'll still do Alphonic. All right. So I'm going to arm that track. And here we go. Let's see.
Stay patched. Stay secure.
Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. And I got to tell you, I have made it way easier on the new version of podfeed.com. Hang on. I didn't do a big section. Okay.
We were
not a big section. What's that? Yeah, you were this
close to a getaway.
That close to a clean getaway. Everybody name the movie.
Oh.
Come on. You don't know the movie?
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It was Terms of Endearment.
Yeah.
And it was Jack Nicholson. When he's trying to run out of the hospital and he doesn't get out, they make him stay and do something. All right. I just need to do a 5-second Amazon thing. .com. All right. I think that's giving me plenty of room. Well, on the new and improved version of podfeed.com, I've made it super easy to figure out how to support the show. There's a big red button that says support the show right on the top. If you click that, the site will beautifully scroll down to show you the Patreon link, the Amazon affiliate links, a one-time donation PayPal link, and a button to take you to a page to learn how to record your own review. All of these methods of helping the show are welcome. There we go. That wasn't so bad, was it? All right, I'm going to grab those.
It wasn't that bad.
Kind of bad. All right, let's see. That looks like it's too long of a gap. Are welcome. It's not too bad. Well, it's that time of the... Oh, I hope that was you fussing with your mic just now.
Yeah, it was. I'll turn it off.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't on my recording. All right, let's get down to the end, and I think I'll do this. I'll just do that over again. Okay. I knew I had said something about that once before. Oh, this is going to be sweet. I can do this. It's going to be great. I'm excited. All right, here we go. Now we're not kidding. I see what happens. All right.
Stay secure.
Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. I have made it way easier on the new version of podfeet.com to find the ways to interact with me and the other NosillaCastaways. There's a big red button that says join the conversation. When you click that, it's going to swoosh down and you'll find logos to tap for our Facebook group, our Google Plus community, my Twitter page, and even an email logo if you want to write to me. And of course, there's a big, nice, new and improved logo for NosillaCast Live, where you can join in the fun of the live show on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, like Daniel did this week, and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
Let's all give it up to Daniel.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel.
Good job, Daniel. Okay, now I got to find that outro music. This is what I don't have down yet. Maybe Steve can help me figure out how to consistently do the outro stuff. Because I know it's weird. I'll show you what it looks like. It's kind of a strange. What's that?
Oh, I was talking to Tesla. Sorry.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. Did we interrupt?
You just froze. Oh, there you
go. Did I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because
Okay.
you were transitioning.
Yeah. So here's the outro music, and I can do things like this. I can do that to fade it in and out, and I can pull the whole thing up and down if I grab this little handle here.
Yeah.
And then I can also select like this, and then I can duck under. See that?
Look at the on the far left.
Yeah.
There's a little carrot in the menu bar.
In the menu.
Down below. There. No, go down. Right
There?
down. Yeah. That looks like a
Ooh.
ducking carrot.
No. Apply profile, add track, add master track, delete track.
What? I didn't see that. What happens when you hit that?
Pop-up?
No.
Oh, the pop-up's not showing. It says apply profile, add track, add master track, and delete track.
Oh.
I'm going to click on me so that I this stays up so we can see it. Let's see. There's an effects thing is the next one. And that's all off. S is solo. Don't hit that. M is don't hit that. That's record. And I don't know what this one is. That might be levels. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's probably left, right channel.
Stereo, left, right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So you notice when I selected the middle of this, I can duck it under the music like that. But what I can't do, oh, you know what? That gave me some handles. That's kind of neat. But if I try to go like this and say, okay, from here to here, now when I grab this, it doesn't, it pulls the whole thing. So
but that's not the track you're selecting.
No, I am selecting the orange one. That is the correct track, but I think it's if I grab to the left of it and I'm not catching just part of it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if I can only do it, then what's going to happen? Like if I started there, then it's going to be real loud and then come back, right?
Yeah. But you.
I got an idea.
There's a second control that you got when you did that, but you'd have to fiddle with it.
You know what? I bet I got an idea. Okay, let me see. Let me go like here. If I go across to almost to the end, what are you laughing about?
John says, ducking carrot. You know what I meant, right?
Yeah.
By that, John, we just meant a little control to enable ducking of one track under.
There we go. So now I can do that. Oh, that's going to work. I was thinking I couldn't affect this end, but it gave me new handles.
New handles. You always want new handles.
See those little handles? So now let's see how that sounds.
We'll call those love handles.
Conversation. When you click that, it's going to swoosh down and you'll find logos to tap for our Facebook group, our Google Plus community, my Twitter page, and even an email. It's a little loud still, isn't it?
A little bit.
So now I could do that. I could bring that down. Let's see. How did I do that? Yeah, like that. A logo if you want to write to me. And of course, thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Ooh, I like that.
There you go.
That was fun.
It's not automatic, but you have enough fine control to do it.
Yeah. Now I could grab I wonder if I can grab this. One thing I want to do is make a template file where it's already done like that. So maybe when I'm done with the show, I'll delete everything but those 2 tracks and then see how it looks. All right. I think we're done. It is 6:08. I'm going to, here's one of the things I love about this tool. Watch this. I'm going to say export, and you can't see the window. So I'm going to stop and present a different window. And we're going to go application window. Let me show you this one. Oh, it probably won't show you enough, but we'll try it anyway. So now I'm going to just do it as an AIFF. Unfortunately, this will do an MP3, but I don't like the encoder. I'm not happy with it. So we'll go ahead and do a mono AIFF, and then I'm going to hit save. And you can't see the window, can you? But I will tell you, when this is done saving out as an AIF, it is done now. That's all the time. Oh, it's really fast.
Does that include any of the levelation?
No, that isn't. Okay. It does do some of the levelation. It would do the levelation if I let it do the MP3 file.
Okay, but you do AIF, so it won't. Okay.
Yeah. So let me show you one more thing here. This is another thing that confused the heck out of me. So this file here, CCATP 2017-0414, says .nhsx. That's the Hindenburg file. But you'll notice that there's a folder, or there should be.
Up above?
Yeah, with the same name.
No, I see the CCATP files folder.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so that's the actual audio files that went into the making of it. And this file is just metadata. That's got pointers. It's an XML file, and it says, take this file, cut it here. That's where she cut out the part where Steve said to flush the button.
It's non-destructive editing.
Yeah. But so when I went back, when I couldn't get the audio to play last time because I had the solo track done, I realized, oh, look, there's all the audio files, but they're not cut. So I'd have to listen to everyone and figure out all the pieces I cut, which would take longer than recording it again, because recording it again would only take like 45 minutes. So anyway.
WAV files.
Yeah. So those are PC uncompressed.
Yeah, WAV is more of a...
No, not really.
Well...
But look at that. Oh, man, this is
that
huge.
In the Mac world too often.
The left channel is 480. That's 900 megabytes for the 2 WAV files for the chit chat piece. Wow. Huh. Interesting. Oh, wait a minute. That's chit chat. I'm in the wrong folder. That's why I'm confused. Here we go. This is our, the 16th, and then the 16th template files are right there. That's all the little cuts I did. That makes a lot of sense. I kept thinking, why is that? Anyway, everybody should get going. We should cut this because I am now going to start messing around and probably break things. And we should just go. Wait, stop so everybody can wave at Steve. Say goodbye, Steve.
Bye, Gracie.
Bye, Ada. Bye, Rose.